All right, boys, it's Sunday. I mean, it's not. It's Wednesday. But
in this scenario,
yes, come with me on this journey where it's Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You have nothing to do today. You wake up earlier than you thought you would, and you're like, I'm gonna make a big breakfast for myself.
Okay.
What are you making?
I did it this past Sunday.
What'd you make?
Yeah.
I made SOS.
Yes, which is
it's called Shit on a Shingle.
Oh, okay.
Yes, okay.
Chipped beef.
I didn't know if this was like a submarine-esque joke that you were doing. For
No.
It doesn't implode.
And then I made Sarah a sloppy biscuit, which is
I don't need to hear about your sex life, but
yeah, please. This is a family podcast.
Only one part of what I just said was true.
The aristocrats.
I would only use one of those words to describe. I'm kidding. Sloppy biscuit. There's a spot down in southern Missouri that makes one at a place called Billy Gale's, and it is a biscuit with egg of your styling, cheese, and a meat of your choosing, and then smothered in a gravy.
That sounds great.
And so I made her one of those with it had bacon and it had cheddar cheese, had an over easy fried egg, and then the gravy on top of it.
Oh, the best way to make an egg.
No, the best is the way that my wife likes it. And that's why I did it. But yes, that was the big one.
Johnny, what's the ideal big breakfast for you?
I mean, for me, it's biscuits and gravy, but I've never made biscuits and gravy myself. So at home, it's usually pancakes, bacon, eggs.
You make your wife make you biscuits and gravy.
No, I'm saying no one in this house ever makes biscuits and gravy. That is my favorite breakfast.
Yeah.
But here it's usually pancakes, bacon, eggs.
Yeah, sure. Classic.
A solid breakfast. I have been getting very much into breakfast burritos. I think they're relatively easy to make. And you kind of can throw. I mean, sure, why not?
Throw whatever the fuck you want in there. It's great.
Yeah, you basically just throw anything. I like doing a sausage and an egg and a cheese, and then a big handful of baby spinach, and then loading that fucker up with hot sauce and calling it a day.
No potatoes.
I'm happy to do potatoes, but it's kind of just another thing.
It is one of the things in a breakfast burrito.
It's a thing that you can do. But
we have frozen tater tots usually, and so I will fry some of those up and smash them so it becomes kind of like a hash brown.
Mm-hmm.
Throw that in there with some onion, some pepper.
It's good stuff.
Tots are good.
I'm getting hungry. Can we?
Let's welcome to the Casual Hour, show about breakfast. No, we are here to talk about video games. It is June 28th. This is episode 331. If you're
Welcome
feeling
back, Johnny.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
If you're feeling lost,
you were so nice to me on Monday night. You went out of your way to start a Discord call so that we could chat, and now you're giving me the cold shoulder. What happened?
I think it's
cold
lingering. Open. It was your birthday. I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't my birthday.
Well, it wasn't, but it
for many days.
Johnny, listen,
since your birthday,
motherfucker. If you're good at something, you never do it for free. If you want me to be nice, pay up.
It's true.
I will never.
It's very
have
affordable.
Enough. What is it, like 1,000 million?
It's $1 million. It's just $1 million.
It's just $1 million.
You don't have $1 million coins on you? What are you talking about?
Maybe
54,000.
Well,
I have
reach for the stars.
181,000. So maybe someday.
It is.
Keep reaching.
Episode 331. This is our July preview. Johnny is back from assignment. We are kind of back this week. In general, we took a little time just to chill. Last week, Chase and I did some stuff, but we kind of backed away from some of the quick looks in our Friday stream, and we just recovered from all things summer games. And it's interesting to be looking into July. I feel like we were already like, what the fuck? It's halfway through the year, and now here we are already at another month. But we're going to tell you about some of the games that we've been playing. We're going to tell you about the games we thought that would be good in June, and we're going to tell you about the games that we think will be good in July. And we got a lot to get to, so we're going to get right to it. Chase, what have you been doing? What have you been playing?
I've been playing some video games.
Good,
which is not normal for me these days. But I have played some video games. One of them is a not great game.
Oh, so it's just a game you've played then.
Yeah, but it's a game I've played before and I already knew was bad. And guess what? Still bad. So this was
Jiggy to show up here now.
Yeah. Anytime, Jiggy, just come in here and I'll tell you how bad this game is. So we do this thing on our monthly preview episodes. You'll see it later. We spin a big wheel. That is my backlog roulette wheel of this project that I've been doing for this year. My New Year's resolution was to play 12 games from this wheel.
Did you really play Codename Steam though? I feel like this is being generous.
I haven't finished it. I'm still going to keep playing more of it, even though I hate it. But I did put a gaming session of a few hours into it. So
you're going to be playing it for 3 more days.
Doing this podcast, even though you hate the both of us.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's the same. Okay. It's the same deal. Like
I guess we never really
do things you don't want to do.
We never really established like what is the after we spin the damn wheel. What do we expect?
I've established it. It's like I will give the old college try to any of these games, and I will write an article at least obliquely about it. So I have not written the article yet. I realize that June is almost over and it's time to start July, and we're going to spin the wheel and I'll have another game on my plate, but I'll keep playing some Codename Steam despite not liking it, and I will write something about it. But for those who are uninitiated, Codename Steam is a third-person tactical RPG. Tactical turn-based RPG. It is made by Intelligent Systems, the makers of very fine tactical RPGs.
Your favorite.
Advance Wars, Fire Emblems, the good ones. And then they made this piece of shit on the 3DS. I don't understand it.
I mean, I'm looking at it here.
It got some really bad reviews, I remember.
Deservedly so.
Yeah,
So the idea here is that it's this weird America rah-rah steampunk thing. Like Abraham Lincoln is the president of the United States, and he's also like the head of the Codename Steam
group. So he's the Richard Nixon of the Watchmen universe in the Codename.
Sure.
Okay.
Now, in Japan, it had the subtitle Lincoln versus Aliens, which is way cooler.
Yeah. Than
just Codename Steam.
That would have been nice. It could have helped. You play as a guy named Henry, I forgot what his last name is.
Good old Henry.
But it also gets very confusing because the second person that joins your team is John Henry of
Like the-
American folklore legend.
All right.
Yes. So you play as a guy named Henry, and then there's this other guy named John, but also it's fucking John Henry. So you're like, well, why'd you name them both Henry? Why? You could have named anybody anything. Why'd you do this?
Just a coincidence.
Sure, yeah, just a coincidence that those are the first two characters you play as. So I have John and Henry, but John is John Henry, not confusing at all.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith.
Jingleheimer Smith. That would have been his name is my name too. Is how it worked out. And I haven't unlocked many of the other people yet.
Papa John Henry.
I didn't get all that far into it. But when you do complete the tutorial area, you do get the ability to put in your amiibo. And it works with 4 different Fire Emblem amiibo, which are Marth, Lucina, Robin, and Ike. I think those are the first 4 Fire Emblem amiibo they made. And you can unlock those 4 characters as additional characters to play as. Although they have like a semi-permadeath thing going on. Like the regular characters don't. But just the Fire Emblem characters, if you
semi-permadeath.
So if you choose them on your team and they go out and they fight and they die, you have to scan the amiibo in again to get them as another option. They just go away from your playable characters.
Well, then what's the point of making them?
I think the point is that you don't just borrow your friends and scan them once and call it a day. You have to keep owning the amiibos to keep scanning them in, which just makes it more of a pain in the ass. Or I guess you get good and they never die, but that's also, I think this game sucks a lot mechanically. To keep it relatively short, because I will write about this game and I'll put all these complaints in there as well. I think it really hurts. Bobby, you and I had this conversation on the last episode when we were talking about handheld games versus console games and kind of what makes them feel different. And I think one of the things, especially for these tactical turn-based games, is when I'm playing a handheld game, I like to have that bird's eye view. I like to be able to I like to have advance wars. I like to be able to see all the units and see all the squares. Same for Fire Emblem. Even something like Zelda.
Do you like to have a mansion that you spend most of your time in when you're playing a tactical game? No. Oh, I'm sorry. That's
not particularly.
Okay.
But this game has that behind the back third person view. And you're on a 3DS, so it doesn't matter how big the screen of a 3DS is. Even if you get the XL, it's still a relatively small screen. And they don't do a lot with screen real estate. They put a lot of architecture stuff in front of you that requires you to that just blocks your vision. And it's supposed to block your vision, but it just makes for a really unfun game of, okay, I'm going to walk around this corner and I hope nothing's there, or I hope something's there that I can deal with. And more often than not, it's just I have no tactical ability to see what's around me to be able to make those kinds of tactical decisions.
So you're just blindly walking in to situations.
Yeah. Okay. It also it feels a little bit like Valkyria Chronicles, which some people like. I have not been the biggest fan of Valkyria Chronicles, but the game kind of has an Overwatch system in that if you walk into an enemy's field of view who is able to do Overwatch, not all the enemies can, but some of them can, they'll just start shooting you. And even if you don't do anything, it will keep shooting you. Even though this is technically like a turn-based thing where I'm taking my turn right now, it will just keep proccing the Overwatch to keep shooting you. And it's not a fun system. It's a bad system. They also you have some certain characters that can do Overwatch, and the Overwatch is somewhat automatic, but you have to leave yourself enough steam, which is basically their like action points. You need to leave yourself enough action points to be able to make an Overwatch attack. I don't know, the range of everything feels really terrible. I don't think the game looks particularly good. There are too many
Sounds like
enemies.
A very confusing game.
It is. I don't like it. I really, really don't like it.
Is there anything about it that you do like, that you think that, hey, this would be neat if they found a way to implement this into a Fire Emblem or an Advance Wars?
I think this would actually be a relatively interesting console game. If you did put this on a Switch where I could be putting it on a television, if you did give me maybe like some kind of drone thing that I could always go to, like a top-down view and just see, oh, this is where the enemies are, and now I can make my tactical stuff
to tactically decide what you want to do.
Totally. I think if you had that option. Thank you, Pierce. Yes, I continue to hate things, especially when they're codenamed Steam. I think if you had that option, just to like show me the map, show me at least where I'm supposed to go. They try to give you like a quick overview of here's the map and here's where you're supposed to go, but then it pops you into that behind the back screen, and they never let you see that again. So it's very easy to get lost. And it sucks. It really, really sucks. The Fire Emblem characters I think are fun. So far, none of the ones that I've used have Overwatch though, so they also feel kind of useless compared to the characters that do have Overwatch, because that's a really useful.
So Jiggy delivered hard here, is what you're saying. He did. He came through.
Yeah, I mean, I already knew. I tried this game out when it first came out because Intelligent Systems' name was attached to it, and didn't like it then. And I've owned it forever. Jiggy and I have talked, or he's threatened me with doing a Gamers on the Go episode about it.
Threaten me with a good time.
I've just always hung on to it, even though I do not want to play this game. And then it was his one option. I gave all my good friends options on the wheel to put in. So who knows?
Did you ever come up with by the way, for the options on the wheel, did you ever weigh those to where,
no,
hey, since Bobby picked this, Johnny picked this, and Jiggy picked this, we should have maybe 3 of those entered?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think that's very fair.
Hey, only 12 games get picked for the full year out of a list that's at least 100 games long, or was 100 games long, and somehow one of the 3 hit. Of those 100 games.
Yeah, I just feel like we put up with a lot from you. Maybe give us a little bit of a.
I just put up with Codename Steam. I'm free and clear. Well, and if you know what, honestly,
my pick is
tonight,
fantastic.
Maybe your pick was Subnautica, right?
Yes.
I will tell you, if we spin the wheel today and it's Elden Ring, I might just quit this whole project.
Elden Ring.
I might just go. You know what? This was a mistake. I'm not going to do this anymore. Fuck my New Year's resolution. This was terrible, and I will kill that wheel dead.
Yeah. Well, we'll see that fucking wheel here in, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Chase, what else you been doing besides hating games?
Let me tell you about a quick one before we get into the one that we can all talk about in some form or fashion. I played a game called The Password Game, which I just learned about this morning from our good friend at Ground Shatter, James.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Ground Shatter James. That's his name. I forgot James' last name.
James
from Ground Shatter. That's all you need to know. He tweeted that this was a game that all the people in his office were playing and losing a bunch of time to, and it's fantastic. I've linked it here. It's a free game that you can play in your browser. The basic idea is that you all you have to do is type in a password, and it gives you, hey, it needs to be so many characters long.
I hate you. I want you to know how much I hate you, because you did something to me. I clicked this fucking link. I go there, and I immediately had triggered PTSD from working at the fucking Apple store for over a decade,
I'm
trying to help people figure out their password and then the password to the other password. I literally saw that and immediately closed it and said, "Good, you can't do this. You can't."
I've done my job.
I physically cannot do that.
Add up to 25. I was like, nope.
So
closing this tab.
I'm out.
I don't know if it does the same thing, so I'm gonna kind of play it in real time here and just see how it goes. So I'll tell you, the first time I played this game, it said please choose a password, and it took me, I will shit you not, like a full minute for me to go, should I just put my real password in there? Like, no, absolutely don't do that. Don't use any of your real passwords. And I was like, okay, fine. And maybe this is what I was.
I'll link to it here in chat as
but
well.
I wrote burrito. I was like, cool, burrito is going to be my password. And it's like, cool, you rule number 1, your password must be at least
Burritos are
5
for
characters.
breakfast, not for passwords.
Yeah. And then it says your password must include a number, so it adds an extra rule. I was like, okay, well, what if I did burrito 0 instead of the O? That's a cute thing you can do. And then it goes, okay, now your password must include an uppercase letter. And I was like, all right, well, I can make that be an uppercase letter. So it's still burrito, easy enough to remember. And then it says your password must include a special character. And I go, okay, well, what if it's hashtag burrito? That's easy. And then it gets to rule 5, and it says your password, the digits in your password must add up to 25. And I go, oh, I have to change. I have to change the way. Okay, Bobby's playing in real time. That's perfect.
Thank you.
And so it just keeps adding rules on. It's very good. It's very good.
Bobby, you're not supposed to put your real password in there.
Yo, you don't want to see my real one.
It just keeps adding new rules as you go on, and
very
it
good
becomes
and
a
bad.
puzzle at some point, because then you have to go back and realize, oh, I can't just, like, at some point you just can't keep adding more and more characters. You have to build within the characters that you have. And also it starts pulling from very weird sources, where it asks you to include the day's Wordle answer, where I went, oh fuck, I have to play Wordle today. So I went and played Wordle today, and I got it within 3 tries. I'm very good. And I was like, okay, yeah, there it is. The word, I'm sorry, it's 10:50. If you haven't done today's Wordle, sorry, the word was tract.
Can I ask a quick,
TRACT?
Johnny, whenever because you still work in tech.
Yep.
Whenever somebody messages you about like needing to log into something or anything, will you just send this link and be like, yeah, put your password in and just we'll just let it go.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this with my team tomorrow.
It was something I've only played for about 5 minutes today, and it was so fun. And the last one I got to, I can't remember what number of rule it was, but the last rule was, it showed me a picture of a Google Maps area, and it said, what is this country? And you couldn't zoom out.
Yeah.
And it was just a fucking field. And I went, I don't fucking know. I'm not going to make guesses at this, because this will take me forever. I'm not like the master GeoGuessr guy, so I can't do this. I guess this is where I end.
I'm going to message my mom and dad and tell them that hey, I got a weird fucking Facebook friend request. I think you need to change your password. And here, I'm going to send you a link. And I'm just going to suffer through it for old time's sake with my fucking parents and see what happens. See how far can you get your parent down this process?
I want them to send you a text back going, Bobby, what was today's Wordle answer?
I absolutely want to see how far we can get.
Brenda's going to get on the phone. Like, Bobby, well, I don't understand.
What about those nice boys you had at your house? Johnny and Chase, I think his name was. Can they help you?
It was a fantastic little time waster. It's free. You should absolutely go try it. We put it into the chat. It's so good. It was just a fun little way to start the morning.
I have a request. Let's get through. We each have two games that let's get through those, and then we'll do one big thing at the end for the.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Great.
All right, Chase, you talked about Codename Steam. You hated it. You talked about the password game. I hated it. And now we're going to be getting into a game that you hate.
Yeah, we'll just go back and forth on games that I hate versus you hate. Yeah.
Chase.
And hey, you know what? It's not that I hate this game. It's that I hate what this kind of game does to me.
That's
because
fair.
It's happened before, and I won't let it happen again. Bobby, what's the game?
I know. We're talking about Nova Lands. We have streamed this game and put out a quick look, so you can go and watch either one of those right now. Nova Lands came out on June 22nd. It is made by Behemoth. It was published by Hype Train Digital. You can get it on Steam right now for $17.99. It's normally $20. There's a demo on the Switch. It's on PlayStation. It's on Xbox. This is a pixel-based factory building island game. And if you are familiar, it is. If you're familiar with the game Forager, and if you're familiar with the game Factorio, kind of mishmash those together and you get this game, aka Sicko's Paradise, aka Bobby Shit, aka I Can't Stop Playing It, aka I'm in Love.
How many hours do you think you've put into it so far?
Honestly, not a ton. Probably
Steam says 2.5.
Huh?
Steam says 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So not a ton of time there, but I feel like I'm progressing at a really good clip. On the stream this past Friday, we got Steel, which allowed us to open up the desert island, and then I found the character that had the remember the service, not the the community center from that we thought it's just a museum, so you just put shit in there. So I got that opened up. I upgraded a few more things. I got power now, so I can do solar and I can do coal power. But it's one of those games. Hey, get this rock, put it in here, start to automate it. But what it does differently, and what I really like, is it's a game it's almost like a necromancer. You're just harvesting these little bots around you to do your bidding, and they have helper bots. They've got logistic bots, and they have a fighter bot. And you can attach one bot to your person. So if you have a helper bot, it's just an extra inventory space where they'll pick stuff up for you. I don't know what would happen if you put a logistics bot on you. I don't think you can. But a fighter bot will fight beside you. And I did unlock the gun, Chase. So that then gets into Bones, and Bones gets you more stuff. And you are researching on a radar around you and building out islands. You start on one and then crash landing. I think you can go up to 13 islands. You're managing oxygen. That's about it. And the islands
are all these small hexes. It's not you start on one island and it's not a big deal. It's it's just this isn't much space at all, and the resources will keep respawning, so you keep digging them up, and then like Bobby said, you finally start to get into some automation stuff where you're able to get these drones in, and now these drones are doing part of the work for you. But you're also, to unlock these other hexes of the nearby islands, you have to get certain kinds of materials, and then you just keep doing that, and those different hexes can have new materials on them that you can use to just keep going through the loop. But yeah, eventually you'll start to get to different kind of biome areas. Like you mentioned, you found a desert area, which is very much like Forager. Forager here's your main center space, and then if you go to the right, that's where the desert is. If you go to the left, that's where the zombie stuff was. Yeah. And this game kind of feels like it's taking a little bit from Forager. Forager is the game that I played for maybe 20 hours straight, and killed myself playing when I should have been enjoying New York City for the one and only time I was there. And I went, nah, fuck it. What if I just played Forager instead? So that's why I can't do this anymore. But you can, and you've been having a great time.
I have had a great time. I also unlocked last night. There's a transport system between islands, and I got that lined up now, so I can actually just say, hey, this island is going to be my farming island. This is going to be my resource island. And then I can just say, bring all the goods here for this. And it's neat. I kind of wish it was co-op. I think that would be a lot of fun. But all in all, Novalands continues to be really good. That is out. There's a demo. I don't know if I mentioned that. You can download the demo. That is out on all the current consoles. And then another game that I decided to pick up is called Aliens with an S, Dark Descent, and we'll have a quick look going up on this tomorrow. This is made by Tindalos Interactive. It's put out by Focus. This is $40. It's on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I was playing this on my PC and on my Ally. This is an isometric alien squad game that is in the same spirit. It's in the same spirit of an XCOM game, but it's somewhere between an RTS and an XCOM game. From an Alien perspective, this hits the tone completely. I think it probably has a lot more overlap with Alien Isolation, if you ever played that. and there is just this persistent feeling of uneasiness and being hunted. And
yeah, we're fucked. Like,
yeah,
game
absolutely.
over, man.
It does some clever things. If you like the XCOM games, you have a ship that is your base with a med bay. You have a research area. I mean, it feels very much like the pre-mission stuff in all the XCOM games, where you're researching things for days, unlocking new weapons and unit types. You can manage your crew. You can name people. You can customize them, give them new weapons. And then when you're out, you're bringing toolkits with you. So, like, for example, you might only be able to start with 2 toolkits that can do things like expand your map through the fog of war. It can also be used to weld a door shut. So if you come across like where a hive of xenomorphs might be, or a few xenomorphs or whatever, you can basically weld them into a room and buy yourself time. Critically, it's getting a lot of praise, and I'm right there with it. The combat is different than an XCOM combat. It's somewhere between like KOTOR, I think, and then a turn-based game where you are pausing and slowing the game down, and you have skills that you can unlock, and you have cooldowns on those, or you're basically getting like a currency to cash in on those. So it could be a shotgun blast, it could be cover fire, suppression fire. It could also be like a motion activator that will detect on parts of the map where a xenomorph might be, and then you can use it as bait to lure them towards it. But as you're being attacked or working through these hallways and shit, you can basically slow down when enemies are approaching, map out what abilities you want to use, and you're still managing things like stress level. So there's a lot of strategy to it. It's a tough game. It's a really challenging game.
And it
But
seems
Is
like
it
it
like
has like
XCOM
this.
hard?
What do you say, Chase? Like,
I mean, I didn't play it, but I mean, it seemed difficult when you were playing
if you have a xenomorph show up and you kill it, it basically alerts the other ones in the area, and then you're being hunted.
Oh.
And so you have to really think, do I want to kill this thing? And the game is really about stealth. So you want to avoid encountering a xenomorph. And it lets you see on your mini map where it's moving around. And sometimes it's unavoidable. But when you do that, you can escape the hunt. You can get away from it. And then you can go into a room and weld the door shut and have like a panic room where you just recover your stress level. It's really cool how they do it. You do not want to encounter one of those, because usually there'll be multiples that follow.
I think it has a really good mix of really deep mechanics in some places, and then other ways that they have tried to streamline things. One of the things Bobby hasn't mentioned, but it's in the quick, it might even be difficult to tell when you're just watching it from the quick look. But one of the things that this game does is you have the squad of 4, but when you make commands, when you tell them to do things, you're not telling them to do things individually. You're telling them as the squad, lay down suppressive fire over here, and one person from the squad who the game kind of determines is best suited to do that, whether it's their weapon or their placement, the game will kind of automatically go, okay, I'm in charge of suppressing fire now. Okay, great.
It's awesome how they do that.
And so it does make it easier to issue commands, but it allows you to be more put more depth in the tactical nature of what you should be doing at any one time, rather than the execution of who has to do it. And I think that's a really cool idea. And it made me interested in it, and I'm a person who doesn't really have any interest in the Aliens franchise generally, but seeing the way that they have kind of melded the real-time and turn-based stuff and made some of that stuff kind of streamlined has me interested. I wouldn't mind trying this one out.
One more mechanical thing I'll call out is playing with the mouse or with your controller, you move a cursor and you click, and your squad moves at a walk. You can double click and they'll sprint to that location, which is neat. But as they're walking, so like if you use your mouse, you're gonna click, you're gonna right click to move them where they need to go. And while they're walking, you can hold down the left mouse button and you pull up a flashlight. And I can just pan around with the flashlight as I'm like having them go to a destination to see for loot, or to like see if a door's unlocked, see a potential alien. There's a lot of cool. It's just a really well done and well executed thing, and it works well with a controller also. I did play this in handheld mode for quite a bit, and it was awesome on the Ally, and I think it's optimized for the Steam Deck as well, so it wouldn't be a problem at all to do that. But it's a really cool game. I love the movies. I don't have a lot of time playing Alien games.
They're historically been very, very hit or miss. Mostly miss.
It's very Warhammer in that way.
Yeah.
Lots of different people have taken the Aliens franchise and made a game around it. Some of them have been really good, and most of them have been really bad.
Yeah,
Johnny, I think that you would love this game.
Yeah, no, we'll get to it, but yeah, I have it downloaded. I love Alien. Alien is one of my favorite movies ever of all time. So is Aliens, and it's awesome to know that there's a game that is out now that doesn't just completely suck ass. Because I just kind of ignore Alien game news because usually.
Well, also, the last Alien game you guys played was not great.
Yeah. So
what was that game? I can't remember the name of it.
Fireteam Elite, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game on Steam is sitting at a very positive with over 2,500 reviews right now.
Yeah.
People seem to be pretty high
People
on
like
it.
I saw like Green Man Gaming and a couple other sites had it for around $32.
Yep, I got it for like 28 on one of those sites, so I snagged it
Not
up.
bad.
Well, unfortunately, Johnny really only has time to play one game these days.
Oh my god. So
Johnny, what have you been up to?
I went to the Pacific Northwest, guys. I went to Washington. Took a trip with my wife.
You went to Nintendo headquarters.
I did. I knocked.
Said, "Where's Reggie?" And they said, "He doesn't work here
He's
anymore."
retired.
He bought a lot of stock, so he could be at the
pictures
meeting.
of his feet. No, so I was gone for 9 days.
He really liked that Bigfoot pizza from Little Caesars, didn't he?
I was in Bigfoot country.
It was Pizza Hut. Did the Bigfoot pizza?
It was little Bigfoot was that? I thought it was Little Caesars.
It's Pizza Hut.
He worked at Pizza Hut.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry. You think Reggie would lower himself and work at Little Caesars?
Yes.
$5 hot and ready. Somebody had to think of that.
I love Little Caesars. I don't
I do
care.
too.
Anyway, so I had my iPad, I had my Steam Deck. I stayed in a yurt that had a projector, and I did hook my deck up to that. I played a little bit of Street Fighter.
Hey, what you and your wife do? I don't need to hear about this.
But the game I played the most while I was gone was actually Monster Train, a game that I've owned for quite some time, and never really sunk my teeth into. And I was kind of beating myself up for it because I found myself every night before I went to bed. Every night before I went to bed, pretty much, I was playing until I died in Monster Train, which happened pretty quickly. But
sounds hot.
It was real hot. That game, I know you guys both know this. You can break it in some fantastic ways, and it's so good.
And when you break it, you're not really breaking it. It's more like you've broken it for 2 to 3 encounters, and then the game gives you an encounter that lo and behold finds a way to undercut how you broke it and be like, no, we accounted for all of this. Like, you're still fucked. Like, damn, you got me. But it makes you think even more about how you should tailor your deck. It's so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm very, very bad still, but I'm unlocking new cards and figuring out which one of the whatever you want to call them, like the
actions, tribes,
the tribes, that I like. The little purple guy that does
the Stygian army, whatever.
I think I like them the most so far of the 3 that I've unlocked.
The Remnant Flame, is that the one, Chase? No, which one's the one that eats the guys? Looks like a spider.
The Umbra.
Umbra is fucking Johnny. Just when you get them.
My favorite.
All right. Yeah, I still just have the three leaders unlocked.
Does that one on your iPad? Does it have? Is it the one version that has the?
I was playing on my Steam Deck.
Do you get the DLC for it?
I don't know.
Are you playing it for My Library? If you have My Library, you have it.
No, I own it.
That class is fine. There's just a DLC class. Is all. Once you unlock everybody, you get that.
It's my least favorite class for sure, but it's nice to have extra content for sure.
Okay, all right, I'll throw some money their way. But when I came back
home, game out, right, Bobby? What's their new game? The Monster Train people.
Inkbound.
Yeah,
I got that one. It's called
Diablo
Inkbound.
style one.
No, it's actually it's a card based system.
I'm mixing it up with another one. There's another one that's like, it's a game made by the developers of another game we love, and that one's the Diablo
Johnny,
one.
if you pick up Inkbound, that could be a fun. It's a co-op game. It's basically like a light MMO trappings, but
I know the name.
It's cool. It's neat. You basically have 3 classes. You're upgrading abilities.
Yeah.
It's cool. You should check that out.
Okay. Well, I am not able to do much of anything else besides play this next game. Guys, do you remember when I jokingly said, I'm not going to get Street Fighter, and then I did get Street Fighter, and then I bought an arcade stick, which had a faulty button, so I returned it. Then I bought this thing, the Hori Commander Pro.
Did you know he got that, Chase?
How did he get that?
I think I told him about it.
Yeah, I'm aware that he had it. I didn't know. Yeah.
But the thing is, I ordered it and I didn't get to use it because it got delivered while I was on vacation. So it was just here waiting for me.
He's on vacation, fucking thinking about this Amazon box on his front porch the whole time.
It's bad, man. It's really bad. Chase, remember how you said you'll play that for 5 hours and never touch it? I
remember. Again? Yeah.
Would you like to know what my hour count is now?
I suppose so. I'm going to have to eat massive amounts of crow. Yes.
As of today, it is 50.8 hours of Street Fighter 6.
Now I'm mad at you for a whole different reason. I was going to be mad at you that you bought another game you didn't play. Actually, I should be proud of you. That's what I do. But now you've gone and played the game for 50 fucking hours. What the fuck's wrong with you?
It's insanely good. It's the best fighting game I've ever played, and despite eating shit regularly because I'm still figuring out the mechanics and everything, you
got that new controller, so that's going to make you a lot better.
I'm doing better with the controller, actually, because it has all 6 buttons on the face, because I'm playing classic controls.
Yeah, I've had a Sega before.
You're playing it for real.
Yeah, not like those modern control scrubs.
Casuals.
Yeah, not much else to say. Like, I can't. I plugged this thing in when I got home. I was like, all right, I'll play a couple rounds, just get a feel for it, and then.
Are you still really just playing with your main, or do you try out other characters too?
I'm maining Cammy. I've been testing out Marissa, who's one of the new characters. She's really tall. She's a kickboxer almost. I forget this form of martial arts that she does. And I played with Kin a bit, and I tested out Blanca today. I think I finally understand how charge characters work.
Nobody knows how charge characters work.
Yeah, but Blanca
Not
seems
even the makers
like
of the game. They don't
Blanca
know.
seems like he could be a real pain in the ass. So yeah, I'm in love with this game. When I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about it, and I'm watching Street Fighter videos on YouTube, and it's become. I feel like whatever's needed to click in my brain for fighting games has finally clicked, and I get it. Like,
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Just a percentage chance.
Mm-hmm.
What's the percentage possibility that this is your game of the year?
It's not.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not Tears of the Kingdom.
I didn't think it would. I mean, there are other games that should take that slot.
It has kept me from beating Zelda or Tears of the Kingdom. I will tell you that much.
Yeah.
I was like, we've talked about this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. It came across tonight like, hey, I've played it. Like, introduced it in a way that made us like.
We talked to him before he had 50 hours into it.
Yes,
he keeps playing it. I could see a world where he continues this pace up throughout the year and goes. Eventually, he looks at it and goes, Zelda was pretty good, but I put 250 hours into Street Fighter 6. I think that's my game of the year. And we go,
it's my number 2
sense.
Right now. If I had probably it would be my number 2.
I mean, I'm even surprised that it's number 2 with big games like Diablo 4 out and other things that I know that you're enjoying quite a bit.
Still haven't finished Diablo.
So it's all shocking to me. But that's why I asked a percentage chance. Like, even if it's like, it's only a 5%.
Was Animal Crossing your game of the year in 2020?
Mine? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a race for second for me this year. After Tears of the Kingdom and the way that game made me continue to feel. But like, I did not expect. I was like, when you said that, I was like, yeah, you may be right, because I bought Guilty Gear Strive and played that for maybe 10 hours. But something just happened to me with this one that
I'd have to go back into our data and see where Dragon Ball Fighters landed for both of us on the year that it came out, because
that was another one I didn't play a ton of.
It wasn't high up for you guys. I think it was maybe mid.
We also really enjoyed it. I mean, it was definitely in both of our top 10s.
Yeah. I thought it was amazing, but
we just haven't had this kind of penetration for a fighting game in our circles forever.
I wasn't putting the effort in to actually become good at the game. Learning about frames and all the terminology that goes along with it. It's just it is one of the best mechanically tuned games I've ever played, I think. And I think what else is really impressive about it is that you're doing this more or less on your own. Like, a lot of things that I've heard with fighting games is that, you got to find your people. You got to find that local group that you're playing with to really, everybody, iron sharpens iron kind of thing. Like, you find your group, you play a lot with that group. You don't have that. You're playing online and against computers, right? Like, that's you're still time. I have a friend of mine who also picked the game up, invited me to his little Discord group with other people that play. I played with him once, I think. We talk about it a lot, but we've only actually linked up and played together once or twice. But yeah, mostly it's just been online ranked, and then I'm in the training room, just repeating combos and moves, and just
in the training room, ladies and gentlemen. Man, you are going to Evo at some point, right? I don't know. I can't explain it. I love this game so much that it has kept me from putting any significant time into the other game that I was most looking forward to this month, Final Fantasy XVI.
Yeah,
which we've all played.
We've all played. I'll kind of set the stage here for it. I think that let's try not to go too much past demo area. Chase,
I didn't play the demo. Where does the demo end?
It ends with title card. Yeah,
okay.
Basically,
I've gotten past the title card.
All right, so basically,
I'm in the hub zone.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've just learned everything about the hub zone, and I'm about to leave the hub zone for my first mission. That's
so
where I am.
We might talk at I might do, because I've got the most time in this, I think, significantly at this point, and I will maybe mention just that there's some mechanics that get introduced later on that I like a lot, and kind of dance around that. But I'll say, for the most part, let's talk about tone from that, the demo period, and just what I think that's fair, because this is very much a different Final Fantasy game. I have the least experience with the series as a whole from the guys here on the show, and this is a very strong departure from what you would expect. Well, what Final Fantasy used to be. I hear
it's tough because I mean, Final Fantasy really has, each entry does feel wildly different from the other ones.
It's never stopped evolving. It's just as technology has advanced and they're able to do more different things. But even so, I feel like since 10, it's really gone out in different directions each time. I mean, 11's an MMO, 14's an MMO, 13 was a weird trilogy thing that had mechanics that some people didn't like and was very linear in nature in a weird way. Did not like 13.
I haven't played 13. I'm fascinated by 13. I would like to play 13 sometime.
Yeah, it's
12 is a game I did try and absolutely did not like the mechanics of it. That game was trying to be an MMO.
I bounced right the hell off that thing, man.
And
tried it a couple of times.
And then 15 is kind of that bros road trip, which I was actually enjoying, and I kind of don't know why I stopped.
Yeah, we all had positive feelings about it, but none of us got significantly into it, right? I think I put 25 hours. I think
Chase played mostly the Pocket Edition, right?
I played more Pocket Edition than I have the actual 15.
And the most I've played is all of 7 remake. Like that's the most I've ever done.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, buddy.
But this one is you're not controlling a squad. This is not turn-based. This is really like an action RPG, maybe even like akin to like a Devil May Cry in some
I would say barely RPG. It is it's kind of just an action game that occasionally you equip stuff.
Sometimes you walk by an item and you automatically pick it up.
It's set pretty much in the like it definitely puts the fantasy in my opinion more so than what like 7 did for sure. It feels very much
7's like, cyberpunk feel to it, real gunky.
Like in a way, this is almost like a return to form of Final Fantasies when you think about like Final Fantasies 1 through 5, which were all like relatively medieval fantasy stuff. And I mean they had their unique charms of what Final Fantasy was, and this game has a little bit of that. But I will say at least in these first 3-4 hours that I've played so far,
that's where I'm at as well. Chase.
It seems very. Somebody said. I mean, we've all said it, but somebody on Twitter specifically is like, "Yeah, it's like for the first half of that game, it's Game of fucking Thrones, except there's a chocobo there."
Somebody said it was Game of Thrones, but set in Dragon Ball's universe.
I could see that, but there's not enough spiky hair. That's I think that's my main problem.
It comes.
Okay, all right. Because my main problem so far right now is I don't necessarily need everybody to look like Cloud, but it just doesn't feel Final Fantasy in this area. I mean, yes, there are the big summons. You do get some chocobos that are everywhere. I've seen like half a Moogle at one point in a cutscene. But a lot of the people just look like dudes. It's just a lot of people. In a way that Final Fantasy feels like it has so a rich area. It's kind of the same problem I had with Andor of like, I think this game is doing a lot of things. I think this world is interesting and there could be some cool things out of it. It's just you had such a big palette to pull from, and it feels like you almost intentionally are restraining this in a way that it's not as whimsical as I was kind of hoping that it would be.
I mean, there's the whole first area. You're fighting like little fucking imps and shit.
Yeah, but I mean,
those feel more like traditional dark fantasy.
Yeah,
type
are you
goblins,
saying
and not so much like?
For somebody who doesn't play the series, like what do you like? Can you help me understand what you're saying? Like
lots of more weird creatures. Like
in Final Fantasy VII, you get a dog called Red 13, and he comes and
I've got a dog here too.
Yeah, eventually you get the dog. Yes, that helps. But there's a weird. Well, I can't tell you about Kate Sith yet.
Okay.
You don't know who Kate Sith is. I can't tell you about Kate Sith.
I can't remember her name.
There's a vampire. Fuck! I can't tell you about Vincent yet.
There's 9.
There are Final Fantasy games where
I get it. I think I understand what you're saying now.
Dudes, or like a little wizard that you can't see its face, and like I don't know. You had like a bunch of fun, weird characters. And this is just guy with a haircut.
When I first played it, the demo, Johnny, you can remember me sharing this, but I made a comment about like this is Chris Nolan's Final Fantasy, and even down to like some of the score elements, but it's a grounded story. The way that they tried to ground Batman, like it's still Batman. He's still doing bombastic shit.
Things happening.
Yeah, but they try to ground it a lot more, I think.
It is funny to say ground. I mean, I agree with you, but it is funny to say grounded. And the very first thing you do is shoot fireballs as a phoenix against Ifrit. Is that Ifrit?
Yeah.
Against this giant demon. Like,
also,
the grounded Final Fantasy.
That was like Gandalf fighting the Balrog. Falling down the bridge of Khazad-dûm.
Did either one of you play Strangers of Paradise?
No.
Johnny,
I thought you did. Johnny, you definitely. You played a little bit. At least
I was
demo.
curious if that combat was similar to the combat in this at all.
Really wanted to because it looks so stupid.
You wanted to kill chaos.
I did. I wanted to kill chaos.
And that's the one that's supposed to be like because I don't know. Do these all have to be like in a time? Is it like Zelda where the timeline's fucked?
No.
These are all completely.
Stranger of Paradise is like a prequel / happening during the events of Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah.
And like 7 remake and rebirth, that's all in like a 7 universe. And they've made like 10, and then they made a 10-2. They didn't call it 11. No, they just made it 10-2. But for the most part, these are all distinct worlds. Every numbered Final Fantasy is its own.
And there's things that carry over. Like there's always a guy named Sid. Our big Wedge and Biggs are usually character names as well. And there's Moogles and Chocobos. So there's certain elements that carry over from game to game. A lot of the monsters you fight, like, are in a lot of the games.
Potions, high potions, Phoenix Downs. Like a lot of the trappings are similar. Which again was kind of my issue. Is like some of these trappings are here, but a lot of the trappings aren't, and it makes it feel like this
at least not yet.
And I'm sure we'll get there. But this game does have a big focus on summons, and I really actually like the way that the story is focusing in on the summons. You're not doing the summons yourself, but the conceit of the game is that there are these
icons.
They're icons or dominants.
Dominants can use icons,
right? If you were a anime fan, and I know Bobby, you are. It's very much like the Naruto thing, where there are certain characters that have the spirits within them, and then they can turn into the different tailed
Final
beasts.
Fantasy. The spirits within.
Yes, right. We have to save the planet.
It's interesting from a combat perspective. So you are heavily melee spamming. You have some magic abilities. You start with one icon power that has 2 slots, and you can unlock new abilities, and you have to really get creative on what you put out there. And the game really is about stagger. It's about getting enemies into a state where you can damage them more, and you don't want to harbor or hold on to these abilities. You want to use them because they really drown down the staggering ability. But I find that it becomes like, because I have 2 icon abilities now, and I'm now thinking about what's a perfect loop. So if I wanted to go, because they're all on cooldowns, like what would be my loop attack? And then I'll spam, and like you get even more stuff where like the stagger meter, when it would get halfway depleted on your second icon, there's a thing that you can do that basically just knocks them down right away. And so then you kind of like, okay, I'm going into this rotation now where I did a half stagger, and then I do these things.
You're min-maxing.
I have been like, I've really clicked with the combat. I like it a whole lot, and the overall loop structure of the game, it reminds me a lot of MGSV, where you would basically be just, you have your hub area, and then you're going out on a mission, you're coming back to the hub, and it's very much like linear, kind of compartmentalized little events. The 2 biggest drawbacks I have with it, one is, I guess, more technical, and I am having a hard time wrestling with the camera. And what I mean is that I feel like I try to like move the camera. I don't know how to explain it very well. Maybe you guys can help me out with this if you feel the same way.
You have too much control over the camera, and it feels like, again, I'm not a game developer here. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but it feels like if you went into Unity and said, I just want a camera, and it is the most default basic camera where it goes, you hit the control stick and the camera moves. I'm like, okay, well that's nice, but it leads to this thing where everything is a fucking jerky, shaky movement when you're using it. And I'd like for the camera to have just a little bit more smoothness where it
does it not feel like it's locked on Clive?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Like if you are trying, it feels like when you're trying to like go around a corner, I might be moving the right thumbstick to like move the camera to go, and like maybe I want to look a little bit more off to the right to see if there's something, but it constantly is like jerking back toward, like it's just,
it's like playing a driving game with a D-pad where it's like every little touch is like a little jerk to do something else, and you want that control stick.
Fluid.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel very fluid, and it's something where cameras are very difficult in games. And this one, the cameras that seem to be really good are ones where it gives you control when you want it, and then it can kind of take control, or even almost
It's like it has momentum.
Or like in modern cars where you're starting to take a turn and your headlights will pivot a little bit to show you where the turn is. Like that's what you kind of want out of a camera. Of okay, there's a moment where you play as Joshua, the brother of Clive, in near the beginning of the game, and you go down a spiral staircase, and you kind of just wish the game would go. You can just kind of move forward, and the camera will slowly move to allow you down, and it doesn't do that. You have to kind of keep rotating the camera in a way where you can keep going down the stairs, and it just feels like a kind of jerky mess. It's not bad. You have full control over it.
It's just maybe not as good as what you would expect from
a numbered Final Fantasy game. Yeah, absolutely.
I just hate that I always know I'm using the camera. Like every time I do it, I'm very aware, like, okay, you're interacting with a video game.
There's an immersion breaking thing that's happening every second you play the game, and for a game that is at least attempts to be as cinematic as this, it really does show itself in a way that I probably wouldn't make this mention in many other games, but because this game is look at this cutscene for 20 minutes, and then now you have control, and it's like, oh well, now I'm in a fucking video game because there's nothing directed about this camera anymore. It's all on me.
Yep. It's kind of a two-part because it's movement in general. Like I just think like the camera, and then like not being able to run all the time. But lastly, like the thing that really is a bummer for me is the side quests it's the most garbage ass side quest I think I've encountered
I've seen that complaint a lot
in a very, very long time. And here's the good news. You're not missing out on a whole lot to do it. So like I've even kind of gotten to a point now where I'm like, I think I'm good, unless it's like dude, one of the very first ones you get is at the hub chase, and a guy's like, oh, I need wood for this. You're like, okay,
Yep.
I'm thinking, okay, maybe you'll find wood out in like an area and bring it back or whatever. No, it's literally 15 feet across the, like, dude, go get your own fucking wood.
Yeah.
And then the other one,
and then he's like, food. Oh, well, thanks. Here's 500 gil and a potion. I was like, okay, well, I just started the game, and I also don't need these materials, so I definitely won't need them, 20 hours in.
I've gotten to a point.
Funny. That's
dude, it's bad. It's very bad.
Those first ones, yes, they're kind of pointless missions, but they do give you an introduction to people in the hub area to go like, oh, we're all working together. Or there's another one that feels very pointless near the beginning, where you just have to deliver a bunch of food to people. You're just a waiter, but every time you deliver food to somebody, they talk about how, oh, we're all equal here, and thanks for bringing my food, and I know it makes me feel like I'm some lord that needs to be waited on, but it's really nice of you to do that, and I can't actually move all that well myself, but Sid was so nice to bring us all in and would treat us all as equals. I'm like, okay, I get some flavor out of this, but if 20 hours in I'm still doing basic ass fetch side quests, then that's a problem. It sounds like that's what the game ends up doing.
It is. And so I've gotten a point now where I'm getting a little experience from them, not a ton. And there's also if you pre-ordered the game, I don't know if it comes whenever you get it now, but there's a necklace that is an increase in gil, and there's another one that's an increase in XP. So I have those equipped, and I'm good to go there. So I will say this. I really appreciate being a focused, compartmentalized, go do your shit, come back. I'm enjoying that. I like the combat. I like the characters. I'm not upset at all. Like, I don't have the affinity, or I guess I should say the series is not nearly as precious to me as it is to other people.
Sure.
And I'm not going to downplay. This is a very adverse flow from what they've done in the past, so I understand people could be, this is not what I expect from Final Fantasy, but
there's always going to be that group of people with the series that's been around as long as this one and has had as many like variations over the years.
Like I wish it was more of an RPG. I wish it was more turn-based. I wish it wasn't an action game. I wish my equipment felt like it mattered more than just, oh, the numbers went slightly up. But I'm still enjoying what I'm playing. I think that the voice acting performances are pretty solid. I think the graphics look quite nice.
It's a very pretty game.
You did mention like movement of the character. I think in addition to that camera, your character just kind of swims over a lot of stuff. in a way that looks unnatural for a game that's supposed to be as cinematic as this, when you just kind of see the big yellow arrows that you run into. Also, this game has a jump button, and I don't know why. You don't need to jump ever. You can jump in combat to get some different style combos.
Yeah,
but there's like a
I was
time
so
where
confused by that.
one of the first times you see it and you get to move is like, oh, here's a ledge, you should jump onto the ledge, but that's what your brain says, and then you just run up to the ledge and your character automatically goes up it anyway. It's like, why do I have a jump button? What's the jump button here for? This is so pointless.
Jump buttons are fun.
I guess so. But yeah, I mean, I wish it was more like a Final Fantasy game in many senses of the word. But I think what's here is interesting. And one thing I do want to point out that I'm really enjoying, or really happy that it's there, is the accessibility options that it has. Yeah. It has four different ring kind of things that you can put on at the very beginning of the game, and they give you some pretty overpowered skills that just smooth out the experience in some very useful ways if you have not played an action game before, or just don't want to deal with the action gaminess of it. So there's one that auto evades. If your character has the ability to evade, the game will just go, okay, we'll do the evasion for you. You don't have to worry about dashing and dodging back and forth. There's one that will automatically use your potions and high potions to heal you in battle, which I just turned on because that's nice. It's just nice. It's nice to have that, not having to deal with. I mean, it's pretty easy to use your D-pad to use your potions or high potions, but I think it's also just nice that it's like, we'll handle that for you. Don't worry about it. And then the last two is kind of an option of which one you want to use. One of them is, hey, if you want just like the easy version of the game and you want to just button mash the whole time, you can just kind of keep hitting square and we'll do cool, complicated combos for you. And then there's another one that goes, okay, we'll up the timing. Or wait, sorry, is that for the evasion one? Oh, I'm sorry, it's for the evasion one. There are two different evasion ones. Either it's an auto evade, or it's we increase the window of time where you can evade and get like the perfect dodge. So you can pick either one of those, but if you pick both of them, then one of them is pointless because it's already doing it for you. So I like that it has those handful of options for you, and they are in equipment slots that you can put other pieces of equipment, so you can get better stats if you feel confident enough that you don't need those assists. But if you do want those assists, they're just there for you, and I think it makes it for a much more enjoyable adventure for a lot of people who are going to struggle with this kind of game, especially people who were hoping this was more of an RPG and weren't ready for it to be an action game. It's nice to just have those options. I think that's a great way of implementing that as well.
I think it's cool. I'm sure we'll talk more about it. Johnny, I know that you need to get into it. Chase, you need to get into it a bit more. I'm sure in the coming weeks you'll hear more about it.
I will say, opening impressions, extremely positive.
Yeah,
I'm way into it so far.
Yeah,
I have my issues with it, but I'm coming out of it still pretty positive as well, and excited and interested in what comes next. I don't think Clive is going to be my favorite Final Fantasy protagonist at the end of this game, but so
no
far,
Small Leonhardt.
I you know what? 8 is one I haven't played. I'll play that one someday. But
it's on the list, right?
It's been remastered. You can play it on your Switch.
It is on the wheel.
I own it on the Switch.
Yeah.
I also own it on the Switch because I own lots of games that I haven't played. But it is on the wheel under Final Fantasy parentheses pick one. Okay. Which, if that does get selected, I'll probably veto because it's like I'm already playing a Final Fantasy game right now. We can't do that.
Well,
but
let's
why don't we figure it out?
Yeah, let's transition over to that. Is it time to spin, or is that later?
No, let's spin that fucking wheel. Let's figure it out. Let's get this out of the way.
All right. Let's see here. I have a wheel. I have your faces. I am clicking to spin.
All right. I'm scared.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh no. That was almost very bad, wasn't it?
Yes.
What's it say, Bobby? Is that gunpoint?
Gunpoint. It was I got really excited because I thought you were gonna have to play Cyberpunk, and that would have been perfect.
And then you got really scared because it was.
Then I got really scored. Yeah.
Or Super Robot Tyson, the GBA one. Okay, Gunpoint. That's an interesting one. That's on Steam. I don't think it's anywhere else except Steam. So I guess I'm gonna have to play a game on this personal computer that was built for me by my two good friends. That'll be a new experience.
Or you can just use your Steam Deck.
I guess I could do that as well. Actually, I don't know how good the controller support is for Gunpoint, but that is kind of a turn-based, tactically action-y game that you're. It's like a lot of jumping into enemies and making shots. That's a cool game. That's
kind of reminds me of
Ronin.
No.
Okay.
The way the rooms are laid out. What's the one where he plays a ninja?
Mark of the Ninja.
Mark of the Ninja.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can see.
I think I got this game a part of like a bundle or something because it says that I own it.
You might have gotten that when you bought Heat Signature, because I think it's the same developer. Maybe there was a bundle where it had both games.
It would have been in 2020, so it might have been like a COVID review thing or something.
Yeah. Incredibly positive reviews.
Yeah.
Sure. It was a game that people really liked. I think also its main developer is a guy who used to be a games journalist too.
Huh.
Maybe for like a British magazine. It wasn't somebody I know, but cool. Gunpoint. That'll be a fun one to try. So like I said, I am going to still keep on playing some more Codename Steam and try to get more of a full picture of how I feel about that game.
Sure.
I feel like I quite know how I feel about that game, but I still should put some more hours into it for Jiggy. But yeah, Gunpoint. That's an exciting one, and I also don't think that game is all that long, which is also a nice thing to have. Very cool.
All right. Well, let's keep figuring out if we got things right, Chase.
Yeah. Well, to do that, we'll have to go back and look at the games that we made for our picks for the month of June.
Yeah.
So let's start. You know what? Let's start with me. We never start with me. I had two games that I picked out for this month. One was Dordogne, which was that kind of French adventure-y game where you play as like a little, or you play as like an older woman who is like remembering her time as a little girl, and you're going around and collecting things in your scrapbook. I feel bad. I didn't end up downloading it. I did read some reviews of it. It got decent reviews. It wasn't as high as I thought it might review, though. I was surprised that people didn't take to it as much as I thought they would, based on just the art style. Yeah, it seems like it's just fine. Yeah. And maybe it's something that I'll pick up when it's on sale. But
it's on Game Pass. You have that, right?
I do have that. I also have a billion other video games I would rather play more right now. But it's nice that it's there. And then the other game I picked was the AEW game, AEW Fight Forever. That is out tomorrow or the next day. It's out at the very
reviews
June.
are not great reviews.
They're not glowing. They're not glowing. What I've heard is that it's both trying too much to be the N64 games, but also it doesn't quite work as an N64 game. It doesn't quite feel enough like it either. That's disappointing for sure, but I know I want to try it for myself, and I already pre-ordered it because I knew I was just gonna buy it anyway. So yeah. I'll give a report probably next week or the week after about how I feel about that. But not great that the game took forever to make and also kind of didn't work out the way it was supposed to, but we'll see. Bobby, you had Final Fantasy XVI, which is the game we just talked about. So Indeed. It seems like you're pretty happy with your purchase so far. Did you go back and put Nova Lance in here? Oh, wait, no, that's what you've been playing. Oh, hang on. I was like, wait a minute. You fool. Since when did that happen? No, you also had Diablo 4, which you've talked about many times, and you've played on a couple of Fridays. You seem to be very happy with that purchase.
Yeah. Very happy.
You also had Dordogne, we talked about, and then you also had Bleak Sword DX, which is one that we both seemed really excited about coming out of the Next Fest or wherever we played the demo. I haven't heard you talk about it since. Did you not end up picking that up?
We're recording on it tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Well,
And
I'm excited because that game looks fucking rad.
Yeah, it's really cool. We'll talk about it. I'll be talking about it on the podcast next week. But we are going to record that and Final Fantasy tomorrow for quick looks.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then Johnny, you also had Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, and Dordogne. Anything you want to mention about any of those that we haven't already said?
I have not played Dordogne yet, but I have played.
Well, welcome to the club.
And enjoyed the other 2 games.
Very cool. All right. Well, before we move into the new games of July, we got to talk about the free games of July, and part of that means talking about PlayStation Plus. So, again, we mainly just talk about the essentials, although we do have some stuff to talk about of games leaving the PlayStation Plus Extra and whatever the higher tier is called, Premium. I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't matter. But as far as the PlayStation Plus Essential games, those are the ones that you can get with your free with your base PlayStation Plus subscription. That is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, both the PS5 and the PS4 version. Alan Wake Remastered, which is relatively good timing considering Alan Wake 2 being announced and all that stuff. That is also the PS5 and PS4 version. And then Endling Extinction is Forever, both the PS5 and PS4 version. That is, they bill it as a survival game. It's not what I thought it was when I saw trailers of it, but that's where you're playing as the fox mom, and you have to take care of all your pups, and it seems like things go bad and you might lose some of your pups. Seems like a game that would make me sad if I played it, but also very, very pretty. All right, let's talk about these games that are leaving PlayStation Plus. Again, it's leaving the higher tiers. So I don't really know much about how the higher tiers work because I don't care, but let's just run down this list anyway. BioShock Remastered, BioShock 2 Remastered, BioShock Infinite Remastered, Borderlands The Handsome Collection, Fluster Cluck, Marvel's Avengers. Wow, that's a shame. Raiden 5 Director's Cut, Rogue Stormers, Saints Row, Gat Out of Hell, and Stray. Stray seems like the one that
it's the one that kicked the service off.
Yeah, because that's the one that got the most the most backing behind from Sony.
Yeah, it's what they used to get people to sign up.
Bummer. Let's move on to Xbox Games with Gold. On July 1st to July 31st, you can pick up Beasts. Oh, Beasts of Mara.
You can double click on the image too.
Yeah, Beasts of Maraville Island. I tried looking at the image. It's the Maraville Island part is too small, even when I zoom way in. That is a third-person game where you're kind of exploring, a third-person adventure game where you explore around and you can take photos of the wildlife. So it's maybe kind of closer to what I wanted from new Pokemon Snap. But I also just don't remember this game coming out at all. It came out June 12th, 2021, and I just don't remember even hearing anything about it. Relicta? It's like relic and then an A. Relicta. That's a first-person puzzle game, kind of in the Portal style sphere of you play around with magnets and things. That's available July 16th to August 15th. Thrillville Off the Rails is available from July 1st to July 15th. That is an Xbox 360 game that you can play on your higher tier Xbox One X, Xbox Series, or your Xbox Ones, or your Xbox Series X or S. There you go. Or your Xbox One X.
Really great game.
Do whatever you want. Yes, so easy. Thrillville, though, that's you build your own theme park, build your own roller coaster kind of game. And then the original Torchlight is available July 16th to July 31st. I think the original Torchlight is a fantastic game. If you're going that Diablo 4 costs too much money, but I'd like to play another game like Diablo, you can play Torchlight. That's
your chance.
There it is.
It's really good. I would suggest you do not play Torchlight 2 or Torchlight 3. Those games I didn't find fun at all. But the original, good game. And then Bobby, I'll throw it back over to you to talk about the games that are new to Game Pass this month. What do you got?
Yeah, we're going to sneak in one late June edition, which is Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. That's June 29th. We have Arcade Paradise, a game we've quick looked right here on this channel on July 3rd. Sword and Fairy, Together Forever on July 6th. Exo Primal, July 14th. Tectonica on July 18th. The Wandering Village on July 20th, and Vinba on July 31st. There's also a handful leaving. We've got DJ Max Respect V. We've got Empire of Sin. We've got Match Point Tennis, Olesia, Amori, and Road 96, all 86ing in July.
Man, Aaliyah was a game that I played a tiny bit, and I thought it had a really cool art style and some cool ideas.
Yep,
it's one I kind of feel bad that I didn't go back and play more of. And then Omori, that's one that's on the wheel, so I want to play Omori sometime, but I gotta wait. Let's move into the monthly releases for July, and I'll tell you, I tried to find some releases between July 1st and July 11th that looked interesting or something that we could talk about, and there wasn't a damn thing. So we're just going to start at July 12th. And talk about Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals, which is a game I also don't care about, but is at least important enough that we should talk about it. It's coming out to PC, Switch, PS4, and PS5, and also your mobile devices if you have a Netflix subscription, because I did not remember this, but Night School Games has been purchased by Netflix. So
I forgot that as well.
Yeah.
I think this would be fine on a tablet or a phone, given the way that they play. I think that would actually be a pretty okay time.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a super complex game in terms of movement or navigation or anything like that. So I totally think that'd be fine. I have heard people say if you've played Oxenfree, you'll love Oxenfree 2 because it plays very, very similarly.
It looks like more Oxenfree.
Yeah, and to that I go, cool, I don't need to play that. I do think there are some interesting conceits here. One of the things that I didn't like about Oxenfree was the dialogue system, which had some really cool ideas. This idea that you could interrupt people as they were talking. I didn't like that, even if I found it interesting, because I wanted to hear the voice acting of the game with the voice acting. Why would I interrupt anybody if I want to hear everything that gets said? So it didn't really make sense to me, even if I appreciated that it was an option. This game kind of really has just two main characters. I do see a third in this trailer at the very end, so maybe more show up. But maybe having two characters makes that dialogue work a little bit more smoothly, or makes the interrupting mechanics work in a way that won't piss me off as much as it did in the first game. I don't know, but Oxenfree 2. Lost Signals. I heard people didn't like the other game they made, After Party.
I never played After Party.
Yeah, I heard that was maybe kind of a miss, but people seem to be pretty excited about Oxenfree 2. And if you liked the first Oxenfree, this seems like a game that we will absolutely dig. Moving on to the 14th, Bobby mentioned it as part of Game Pass, but Exo Primal is coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. This is being developed by Capcom. This is the one with all the dinosaurs that it's like Earth Defense Force except dinosaurs instead of bugs.
Yeah, I played the beta for this one.
What do you think, Bobby?
I think there's some really cool stuff there. It is a little bit. The demo was a little bit more PvP, but they've corrected that. I believe they've came out and said that it's not, that last round is not going to be nearly as focused on PvP stuff, because you're competing almost like a game show against other squads that are trying to progress through these hordes, and that's fun. I think that's a really cool competitive way to do like a PvE approach. But it is
maybe
bonkers.
A little bit more like Gambit from Destiny, where it's like PvE, but then there's also a little bit of PvP that kind of goes over.
It's also more character, like hero character, I guess I should say, like a shooter in that sense. Like you're picking characters based off of their ults, and they even have like, this is your support, this is your tank, this is your run and gun. This is on Game Pass. I think it'll do really well there. Capcom's been doing good shit, and it continues that trend, in my opinion. I don't know how much I'll stick with a game that's this much of an online thing, but this could be a cool Friday night thing for Johnny and I, and maybe even you, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, for a game that looks as free to play as this, and this is not a free to play game, but it looks like it will just have a bunch of free to play elements to it, and it kind of gives me pause. It is being developed by Capcom, and even if I haven't enjoyed Monster Hunter, I can't deny that Capcom has just been killing it lately with basically everything they put out. So part of me wants to just give this a try based on the momentum of Capcom that's going on right now.
Yeah, I'm going to see how it reviews and stuff. But
it's on Game Pass, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Never mind.
Also, just dinosaurs. More games need dinosaurs.
I agree.
On the 18th, Lisa Definitive Edition comes to PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. I remember seeing some stuff about Lisa a while ago and thinking that it scratched that part of my brain that goes, "Oh, I like this art. It looks like Earthbound." And then I heard like, "Oh, it's fucked up though." And I was like, "Okay, a fucked up Earthbound." And then Undertale came out, and it's like, "No, not that fucked up Earthbound. This is a different fucked up Earthbound." But this is. It's more like a side scroller. It's got some platformy stuff. It's got some beat 'em up stuff. It's got some RPG stuff into it, and it's very post-apocalypse, and it is also very, very fucked up. But what I didn't know, this is actually 2 games. This is called one of them is Lisa the Painful, which is the original Lisa game, and then there is also Lisa the Joyful, which is kind of an epilogue that was made to continue the events of the first game. So you can buy this as a package of both games, or you can buy them separately. I think if you buy them separately, Painful is $15 or $20, and then Joyful is $10. There's a really great H Bomber Guy video essay about Lisa. H Bomber Guy, I think, just does fantastic video essays in general. But the one about Lisa, I've remember liking, and I actually am going to rewatch that because this is a game I've never tried before, and I would like to try it at some day. And also, it's coming to the Switch, so I have that available there. You guys have any thoughts on Lisa?
Don't think I want to play it.
Yeah, I bet you wouldn't like it, but just fucked up.
I think I'm good, man.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be pretty busy on the 18th, though, Bobby, I imagine, because you'll be playing Viewfinder.
Baby.
On PC and PS5. God damn, this game looks so good. And every time I see it, it looks a little bit better.
I'm just like, I've stopped watching stuff on it. After playing that first demo, I knew immediately I was going to obsess with it. But there's so much like weird and wild and crazy shit that like I just want to explore on my own. And I am so thrilled to play this, man. The demo left a very strong impression when we did a Next Fest a while back. It's fucking remarkable to watch. It's insane.
It's an instant buy for me. This is probably the game of July, and I think there's some other really solid games in July, but this is the game I'm most excited about in July. It's so good. It's so cool.
Yep.
Moving on to the 20th, another game that Bobby and I tried out on a casual Monday. Might and Magic Clash of Heroes Definitive Edition is coming to PC, Switch, and PS4. We played some of that demo on casual Monday. This is a puzzle RPG game, and it originally came out for the DS, although they have made mobile ports and other ports before. But now it is getting this up-resed PC version, and it's also now out on consoles as well. It's one that I always feel like I missed out on. I remember reading gaming magazines that were talking about how good this game was on the DS, and for whatever reason I just never picked it up. But now seeing it here,
I thought the demo was fine.
Yeah. I think it's a cool idea, just the kind of puzzly RPG nature of it. I thought the mechanics stuff was interesting, where you're kind of trying to match three. There's another game out there, like an old arcade game of like grabbing something from one stack and putting it on another stack and trying to make sure you get stacks of three. I think it looks good. I want to try it.
Yeah,
agreed.
Into it.
Also on the 20th, coming to PC, Switch, and PS4 is Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening. I don't know if you guys know anything about the Nobunaga's Ambition games. They are a very long-running series. You can see this is the 40th anniversary.
Jesus.
They're extremely dense strategy games. So, like the way we talk about games like Civ, this is like Japan's answer to Civ. I mean, it's not exactly Civ. It's not a 4X game, but it is. Here is a really super strategy, super menu based. You're trying to make your.
Wait, did that to say it has over 2,000 AI officers?
That's what it said.
Damn.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it's not like it has to build all these AI officers. They're kind of just talking heads, because once we get to the actual gameplay part here, you'd be like, oh, it's just like a bunch of menus, which it absolutely is. I haven't tried any one of these games. I'm kind of more interested, if I was going to play one of them, going back to one of the older ones, that one might be a little bit more simple, and two has the fun old NES pixel graphics that I might jive with a little bit more. But I do recognize some of these characters from playing games like Samurai Warriors in the past. And or even Pokemon Conquest, which had a lot of these characters as well, Nobunaga and man, I'm more of a Dynasty Warriors guy than I am a Samurai Warriors guy, so I don't know these feudal lords as well. It's weird that they kind of get mixed in with Three Kingdoms people, despite the fact that they lived over 1,000 years apart and in a different country.
This
a little strange.
This is a gigantic fuck no from me.
Yeah, no, I would not expect this to be a casual Monday staple for us, Bobby. But I'm curious.
Tickling my Crusader Kings part of my brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like, it doesn't seem very visually appealing. This trailer, it's also a game that I don't think shows off really well in trailers, because how could it when it's so menu based like this?
Man, this is going to sound harsh. It just kind of looks like the ads you see for like a mobile game.
I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah. I always have weird names like Conquest of Hero.
Yeah. Conquest of Battle. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Hero of Legend. Sure.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But I am still I've always been curious about this series. It's not on the backlog wheel, but maybe I should put it on there just to see if one of those hits. Let's move on to the 21st, where we get Pikmin 4 coming to Nintendo Switch. They made a fourth Pikmin game. Did you guys know that?
Yes, there's a demo out right now.
Yeah, you can play it right now. See what it's like. I have not played a Pikmin game before. I did play Tinykin, which I was a big fan of. I should probably just play one of the Pikmin games.
This will be my first one.
Yeah, maybe I should just start with this one.
I haven't pre-ordered.
Just say fuck it.
I'm picking it up. Bobby's picking it up.
Okay, maybe I'll just do that. I know the first Pikmin game. I think we've talked about this before on the show, but the first Pikmin game has a bunch of time limit stuff to it, and that sounds stressful in a way I don't want to play. The second game doesn't, so I always thought I was going to start with Pikmin 2, and it's been a while. That game was on the GameCube, and I still haven't played it despite owning it.
I never played 3. I played the first 2.
Yeah. I you know what? I'll just buy this. I'll just play Pikmin 4.
I want to say I went to pre-order tonight, and because there's also they're doubling your coins if you pick this up. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll pre-order it, and I did not have an extra voucher because I bought vouchers whenever I picked up Mario RPG and Mario Wonder. But when I went to check out, it's like, hey, do you want to use the voucher? And I'm like, I've bought in 2 rounds of vouchers. I've gotten one for Zelda and for Advance Wars, and I got one for the other 2. And I was just like, yeah. So I don't know.
secret fifth voucher.
Well, I don't know. Like, I thought that they were just kind of expired once you use them, but since the other games haven't released yet, I wonder if it's just
maybe it like switched your voucher.
I bet that's it.
Yeah, because
Mario Wonder's in the fall, right?
Yeah, October and November. So anyway, if you all have used a voucher or have vouchers, and maybe see what that's all about. But anyway, I got it.
I think the new mechanics that they've talked about for this game seem really cool, like having the dog as like a bigger Pikmin who can do lots of unique actions is pretty cool. There's like a night mode where there are special kinds of Pikmin that you can only find at night and perform different tasks for the night. Seems really cool. Pikmin has always seemed like a cool thing. I love the character designs of everybody. I like the world. You know me. I've talked about this a lot. I like miniature shit. I just like being in a world made for big things, except for Grounded. Sorry, Bobby. I don't want to play Grounded, but I do like other things that make me miniature in a normal sized world. On the 25th, Remnant 2 comes out to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. This is the sequel to Remnant from the Ashes. Yes, Bobby, you played that game.
I did. I played.
You both played this game.
Played some of it.
Okay.
It was like a Soulsborne style, but shooting. And it was a roguelike in that sense, run based. It was pretty punitive. I definitely did not stick with it as much as other folks did, but 3-player co-op. This one seems to be way more like the guns and shit. Like,
it also seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, this one seems way more like the. When I remember watching you guys play it felt like you were fighting a lot of human-sized enemies, and this seems to be a lot of bigger, beastie, weird things.
Yeah, I'm curious about this one. I think it could be cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to check it out on the 25th. On the 26th, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart gets a PC port. We're not going to show it because you know what that game looks like. That game came out in 2021. Now it's getting a PC port. Good on them. On the 27th, Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons comes to PC, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. Maybe it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Turtle Dragon.
Turtles was the last one I played. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever played a Double Dragon game.
I played some of the first one. I remember playing the first one.
I watched a Matt McMuscles video about this series.
They punch your girlfriend in the gut and they take her, and then you have to play with your brother and you go all the way down. And then once you rescue her, don't you have to like fight your brother of who gets the girl in the end? I think that's how it works, is like if you played it co-op the whole way through in the arcade and you beat it with both characters, then they have to decide, okay, who actually gets the girl, and they fight each other at the very end.
It's only natural.
That's a fun mechanic in there. One of the things I see that's interesting here is it seems like there's a character that's all about defense. Like he's got a big riot shield, and
so he just provides cover.
Well, I mean, he's also doing offensive stuff with it, but he seems to be focused on defending himself, which is just something I don't remember in many side-scrolling beat-em-up games. It always feels like you're jumping and dodging more than you are actually blocking stuff. So having a character that seems like it's more focused on that is interesting to me. What are your guys' favorite ones of these kinds of games? Side-scrolling beat-em-up stuff.
I know that they're not the best of quality always, but I have very fond memories of playing the Turtles games with my friend Richard on his NES at his house. When we had sleepovers, that was always one of the games that we would play.
I like X-Men Arcade for me.
X-Men Arcade's a great one.
The Simpsons one is really good.
There's so much fun flavor in the Simpsons one. It's a fun one to go through. Even as a person who didn't watch the Simpsons a lot growing up, I still really just liked that one for all of the
I played that recently
that you'd see. I'm a big fan of Streets of Rage, Streets of Rage
Sure.
2 and 3. I really like 3. 3's the one that people don't seem to like as much because 2 was just so good. But I like 3. I like playing as Skate or getting the kangaroo, doing the special thing to unlock the kangaroo and plays the kangaroo for the rest. I don't know. Castle Crashers, I guess, was okay.
Yeah,
Back in
totally.
this time. That Scott Pilgrim game that just somewhat recently got that re-release. With
Very
the
good
great
soundtrack.
Monoguchi soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These games are fine. They don't often feel like they have a lot of replay value, and
And it's always like I never play this by myself. It's
Right.
yeah. The last one I tried was River City Girls, which I think looks really cool. It has a fantastic art style and some cool ideas to it, but it wasn't that fun playing alone, and I didn't have anybody else to play with me. And I went, well, I guess I'm done playing this now. But yeah, it's not a genre I get to play that often, but when I do, I think it's a fun time, especially with friends. I kind of wish that I had picked up Turtles and played that with you guys when that was going on.
That's a good time. That was a fun stream.
It was really fun.
2 more to go here. On the 28th, Disney's Illusion Island comes to the Nintendo Switch. This is a co-op side-scrolling platformer. It's more for kids and families. Patrick Klepek did an interview of the game for his new newsletter called Crossmap and or Crossplay. Sorry, I think map because everything's remap is the new thing that they have, but Crossplay is his new thing. And it does seem like the developers are really focused on trying to make a game that kids can play and kind of be introduced to their first platformer. I know one of the things that Patrick said is that it's still a little too much from the demo he played, that it's still a little too much of, you know, his like 5-year-old or 7-year-old probably wouldn't be super comfortable playing this because it still asks you to do some very video gamey stuff. And also that one of the things I also remember is that they're because the developers are so trying to be so hyper aware of making this a game that you don't need this advanced kind of knowledge, this advanced basic knowledge of gamers. One of the things that has really screwed up people in playtests is when you have a relatively experienced gamer try to play this, one of the things they'll do whenever they get onto some kind of mushroom or thing that is supposed to bounce you, some kind of bounce pad, they will always try to play it like Mario, where you have to hit the jump as you're hitting the thing so you can get extra bounce out of it.
Yeah.
And that's not what this game has. It has a double jump. So what happens is that they start to kind of come down to bounce on the mushroom and they think, oh, this is where I need to hit the A button for extra height. And it double jumps you instead and it screws them up. But basically the idea is there is none of that. You just land on the mushroom thing or land on the spring and it just springs you up higher. Which, you know, if you're trying to teach kids a whole new language of this is what a video game is, you jump on this and it bounces. It's a lot different from the generation of us who grew up with Mario and feel like, no, you have to hit A when you're on the spring to get the extra bounce, or Kirby's Dream Land 2 when you get to the end of the stage where you have to like get the slingshot just right at the end. I think it looks good. I like this art style for Mickey and Friends. I think that looks kind of nice.
It's got a fun art style to it.
Yeah,
agreed.
Like this isn't necessarily for us, but I think there might be some stuff that we could enjoy out of it. I do remember really liking the Mickey Castle of Illusion game on Sega Genesis, and there were some really good Mickey games back on that 16-bit era.
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of me has a little nostalgia that kind of wants to try this out, but I just know it's not for me. Then finally, on the 31st, Venba. Bobby mentioned it. It's going to be on Game Pass, but it's also going to be on PC, Switch, PS5, and then for Xbox, it's Xbox One and Xbox Series X. We played a little demo of this one as well, right, Bobby? On a Casual Monday.
We did a Next Fest preview of it.
Yeah,
it was
so
fun
it's all about like cooking your ancestral dishes.
with
In
puzzle
this
light
case,
puzzling.
yeah, a little bit of light puzzle action, but
I like this.
it's
It's
very much about Indian style cooking, and has a story to go along with that of, you know, making the recipes that your mom made. And it just I love the art style. It's
it plays
so
really
good.
well. It's cool,
Yeah.
and being a day one Game Pass, it's a no brainer to check out.
Yep. So at the very end of the month, so even if we pick it by the next time we do, next time we do one of these things, we probably still won't have played it yet, but one I'm extremely excited about for the month of July. Speaking of things that we're really excited about for the month of July, it's time to get into our picks. And Bobby, why don't we start with you? What's got you interested in the month of July that you might be picking up?
Viewfinder with a bullet. I'm gonna check out Exoprimal because it's on Game Pass, and Pikmin 4 I've got pre-ordered, and then Venba as well. I'm gonna be checking that out after the demo and being on Game Pass. So two of the four Game Pass. Thanks, Game Pass.
Yeah. So hey, we say it all the time. It's the best deal in video games.
Oh yeah.
It might also bring the ruin of video games forever, but for now, it's a
Yes,
great
Jim
deal.
Ryan.
Yes. If you read some Sony emails, you know, maybe Microsoft should have just bought an electric car instead. Johnny, what has got you going for the month of July?
I love
Other
Pikmin.
than, I'm sorry. Hang on.
Yeah.
Obviously, Johnny's not going to be playing any of these games. He's just going to continue playing Street Fighter and maybe a little
Fair.
bit of Final Fantasy. But if you were to try another game in the month of July, Johnny, what might you be trying?
I love Pikmin. I'm very excited for Pikmin 4. And I think Viewfinder looks like one of the coolest concepts I've ever seen in a video game. And I'm incredibly excited to try that. And after watching that Venba trailer, that game looks all right too.
Yeah, so we'll make it a clean sweep on those three for all of us. I also have Viewfinder, Venba, and I did say I think Pikmin's going to be a great game. I still wasn't sure if that's the one I should start with, but I think I've been convinced at this point I should just try it.
Yeah.
And then I also have the Might and Magic game, the definitive edition of that, and then also I'll probably just end up getting Lisa. I don't know if I'll play that, but I'll probably just end up buying it and having it. And I don't know if I rewatch that H Bomber guy video and go like, yeah, I need to see what Venba or see what Lisa's all about. Then I'll probably just end up picking that up and seeing what it is. But a lot of things I might be excited for in July. But you know me, I don't play video games anymore, so we'll just have to see.
We will.
Bobby, I will throw it back to you to end this fucking show.
Pretty busy week for us. I did a solo stream of Nova Lands on Monday. This is not updated here, so apologies on the next fest. But with Chase being out, I just did some Nova Lands. You can go to our YouTube page and watch all of the quick looks on that. We did our preview for July tonight. We've got a quick look at Aliens Dark Descent, a game I talked about earlier. And then Friday night, Johnny and I are going to head back to Hell, and we're going to try and get him closer to credits on Diablo 4 as we get ready for the seasonal content at the end of the month.
To be fair, any night with Johnny is a night in hell.
It is true. Chase, what have you been up to?
I got a couple things. My podcast I do with our good friend Pierce Corshane. He was in the chat earlier tonight. He and I have a podcast called Pilot Program where we watch the first episodes of every television show ever made. We recently watched Hell's Kitchen. That episode is out now, where you can listen to us talk about the mechanics of reality TV shows and you know, where the origins of the Michelin stars come from. We talk a lot about Gordon Ramsay and his restaurants. It was a good show. Well, it was a good podcast. I don't know if I loved the show, but we had a good conversation about it. And then also we have a new episode that is premiering this Friday of Pilot Program, and that is we took a second dip into the world of reality television shows, and we watched RuPaul's Drag Race. So happy Pride, everybody. That was a lot of fun. I got to talk about a documentary film class that I took in college where I watched the 1999 can't remember when it was made. The documentary Paris is Burning, which is all about the New York drag scene in the 90s and earlier. We also get to talk about Pierce's new tattoos. He got a Grim Reaper tattoo. It has nothing to do with the show, but we talk about his tattoo.
Talk about it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a fun show as well. You can find that at shows.acast.com/pilot program and look for that on this Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff.
We will be back live Friday night from hell. We will see you all then. Take care. Play something new. Bye, everybody.
Bye.